Hello everyone, welcome to Moonlit Stories. Today's story is about a woman who dies as a hated empress, only to be reborn and discover that every man who once controlled her fate is also reborn, this time with secrets, regrets, and choices that change everything. A love that broke once, a second chance at revenge, truth, and a marriage no one saw coming. Now let's begin.
I was never the perfect queen. I never let Shin-Kei take another wife. I never gave him an heir. When he was dying, he held my hand and laughed. If there's another life, I'm definitely not marrying you again. I rolled my eyes. Good. I wouldn't marry you either. The next second, I opened my eyes and found myself back on the day he was choosing his future princess. The Empress smiled. Just give the jade scepter to the young lady you've chosen. Everyone already knew how this would end. Shin-Kei and I had grown up together. We fought every day, but everyone in the capital knew we belonged together. He used to tell the whole world. Ling Yao promised she'd marry me. She's the only woman I'll ever choose. Because of those words, no noble family even bothered arranging matches with me. Everyone believed becoming crown princess was only a matter of time, including me. I watched Shin-Kei walk straight toward me. Trying not to smile too proudly, I slowly reached out my hand. Then, he walked right past me. Without even looking back, he placed the jade scepter into the hands of the girl standing behind me. Song Yinhui, the famous noble lady everyone praised as graceful, gentle, and flawless. My hand froze in midair. So did the smile on my face. Song Yinhui stared at the jade scepter in disbelief. Your Highness, are you sure? She wasn't the only one shocked. The entire hall fell silent. No one could believe what they had just seen. Because, in my previous life, he had chosen me without the slightest hesitation. Then, he casually tossed aside the token meant for selecting secondary consorts. I only want Ling Yao. There will never be anyone else. After that, he looked at me with the biggest grin. So, did I do well? I lifted my chin and pretended not to care. You barely passed. If you'd picked anyone else, I wouldn't have accepted your proposal anyway. The Empress could only shake her head at how possessive I was. But Shin-Kei loved me too much to care. Years later, we became Emperor and Empress. Through our entire marriage, I never allowed another woman into the palace. I never had a child. The court called me selfish. They called me the queen who ruined the empire. 5 years after Shin-Kei became emperor, the Dowager Empress secretly sent several beautiful women into his palace. When I walked in, Shin-Kei looked completely helpless. Ling Yao, wait. I didn't say a word. I simply closed the door and left. By the time he caught up with me, divorce papers were already waiting on the table. If you truly want an heir, I said calmly, then end this marriage. Find someone else. I won't stop you. Shin-Kei exploded. He tore the papers to pieces. He argued with the Dowager Empress. Then, in front of the entire court, he grabbed my hand and declared, My wife isn't wrong just because we don't have children. We've already adopted worthy heirs from the royal family. Isn't that enough? That was the day I cried. Because for the first time, I realized just how fiercely he loved me. He pulled me into his arms, his eyes red. I told you. I only want you. So, why don't you believe me? You want to leave me? Keep dreaming. I couldn't help laughing through my tears. Idiot. He smiled without a trace of embarrassment. So what? I don't mind looking like a fool. As long as it's for you. We spent a lifetime bickering. Until his final breath. Holding my hand, he smiled. If there's another life, I'm not marrying you again. I laughed back. Fine. I won't marry you either. Then I woke up. Back to the day he chose his crown princess. Everything happened exactly as before. The Empress smiled. Give the jade scepter to the girl you've chosen. Shin-Kei walked toward me again. I almost reached out my hand, but this time, he walked past me and placed the jade scepter into Song Yinhui's hands. The Empress blinked in surprise. You used to talk about Ling Yao every single day. Are you certain? You're really choosing Miss Song? She was clearly pleased. In her eyes, I was far too stubborn and possessive to become the future queen. Song Yun-hui, on the other hand, was admired by everyone. Elegant.
Kind.
The perfect crown princess. The room became silent. I stood perfectly still, listening, until Shun Ke finally spoke. Ling Yao is headstrong and spoiled. No matter how much I care for her, she's not suited to be crown princess. Miss Song is generous, wise, and the best choice. The Empress laughed softly. You've never actually made Ling Yao your crown princess. How can you be so sure? But I already knew the answer. Because, in our last life, I wasn't only his crown princess. I became his queen. The moment those words left his mouth, I understood. He remembered everything, too. And after living an entire lifetime with me, his conclusion was still the same. If there's another life, I'm not marrying you again.
So,
It wasn't a joke after all. He really regretted choosing me. I bit my lip to keep myself from crying. Just like in my last life, when I carried all the blame but never let go of Shin Ke. This time, he let go of me first. The taste of blood filled my mouth. Only then did I remember. In his later years, he became much quieter. He often stared at the younger members of the royal family. He spent hours reading the official records of his reign. He had been a great emperor. He loved his people. He ruled wisely. But history always mentioned one flaw. He protected his childless, possessive empress at all costs. With no biological heir, the throne eventually passed to an adopted prince. The prince turned out to be an excellent ruler, but he still wasn't Shun Ke's own son. No matter how much praise the history books gave him, there was always one line that stood out. No direct heir.
So,
Was that why he came back? To erase the only regret of his life. The Empress hesitated. But if Yun Hui becomes crown princess, what about Ling Yao? She had every reason to ask. Everyone in the capital knew Shin Ke only wanted me. Because of that, no one had ever dared court me. If he chose someone else today, how could my family save face? And what would become of me? Footsteps came closer. Shun Ke walked back to the attendants. He paused in front of the tray, then picked up another token. My heart sank. I knew exactly what it meant. He wasn't giving up on me. He wanted me as his secondary wife. For a moment, my chest felt like it was being crushed. I could accept that he no longer wanted to marry me, but I never imagined
he would lower me to this.
Seeing my expression, Shin Ke looked uneasy.
Ling Yao.
I'll explain everything later. This is the royal family's decision. Your Highness. I cut him off before he could finish. I knew what he was trying to do. He thought I would give in. After all, I was only 16 now. Young. Hopelessly in love with him. Even if I was angry, surely I wouldn't dare refuse him in public. His plan was simple. Marry Song Yunhui first. Keep me by his side anyway. Then make it up to me later. He believed I'd forgive him, just like before. But he forgot one thing. He wasn't the only one who came back. Neither was I. I swallowed the bitterness in my throat, then stepped forward. I knelt respectfully. Congratulations, Your Highness. You found the perfect crown princess. On behalf of my family, I sincerely wish you both a lifetime of happiness. May your marriage be filled with love, joy, and many happy years together. Every word rang through the hall.
Clear. Come.
Final. With those few sentences, I erased every rumor about us and ended everything we once had. Shin Ke froze. What do you mean? The token was still hanging in his hand. The Empress frowned, though her voice remained gentle.
Ling Yao.
You and Care have always cared for each other. Why are you speaking like strangers?
She didn't believe me.
She knew how deeply I had loved Shin Ke. She couldn't imagine I would really walk away. I lowered my eyes, then answered quietly. Your Highness has always been like family to me. Now that my brother has found true happiness, of course I should be the first to congratulate him.
Brother?
Shun Kei's face turned pale. What brother? When were we ever brother and sister? He almost handed me the token, but after what I said, he couldn't. He turned to the Empress in panic. Mother. Ling Yao is just upset. She doesn't mean it. I've already decided who the secondary wife will be. I'm not speaking out of anger. I interrupted him again. Then I looked straight into his eyes. He froze. Because that wasn't the look of a 16-year-old girl. It was the calm gaze of someone who had lived an entire lifetime. A terrible thought crossed his mind. The reason he dared do this was because he believed 16-year-old Ling Yao loved him too much to leave. He thought she would eventually forgive him, that everything would end even better than before.
But
what if the woman standing in front of him wasn't 16 anymore? What if she was the Ling Yao who had spent 40 years by his side? That Ling Yao never compromised. Once she made a decision, she never looked back. Once her heart was broken, she never forgave. Shun Kei used to joke, but I never did. I still remembered his last words. If there's another life, I'm not marrying you again. I smiled and answered exactly as before. Then I won't marry you either. And this time, I meant every single word. The words from our last life echoed across time. They hit Shun Kei all over again. He shook his head. No, I continued calmly. Your Highness has treated me like a younger sister for many years. I am truly grateful. Now that you have found such a wonderful match, I should be the first to congratulate you as a sister. Stop talking, Shun Kei said. He gripped the token tightly and hurried toward me, trying to put it into my hand. But it was too late. I lowered my eyes and smiled shyly, like a young girl sharing happy news. And there is another happy occasion. My family has already arranged a marriage for me. The wedding will be held very soon. I only came here today out of curiosity, to watch the ceremony. I looked up at Shun Kei. His face had gone pale. Your Highness, I said softly, you wouldn't hold a little sister's mistake against her, would you? The token slipped from Shun Kei's hand. It landed on the ground and was stained with dust.
some things are like that.
Once done, they cannot be undone. Once spoken, words cannot be taken back. In front of everyone, one sentence changed everything. Brother and sister. With those words, every possibility between Shun Kei and me was cut off. He stared at the token on the floor, completely stunned. It was as if he had never imagined that one selfish choice would push me away so completely. The Empress spoke first. A marriage? What marriage? Shun Kei finally seemed to come back to himself. He looked at me and forced a smile. Ling Yao, do not lie in front of my mother. That is a serious offense. When have you ever had a marriage arranged? Are you going to make a husband appear out of nowhere? He bent down to pick up the token again. I will explain everything later. This token. I am not lying, I said. My family has an adopted son named Xiaoling. He is my elder brother in name. My parents once intended to keep him by our side and arrange for him to marry into our family. In that sense, Xiaoling has always been my intended husband. The hall fell silent. The Empress sighed in recognition. Xiaoling, of course. How did I forget? Xiaoling was no ordinary man. He was the celebrated general who had just returned victorious after years of battle. During the years he was away, my relationship with Shun Kei had grown closer. No one had expected this old arrangement to matter now. The Empress visibly relaxed. This is actually for the best, she said. Ling Yao, since Kei treats you like family, your behavior today was rather mischievous. But your family has served the court loyally for generations. I will overlook it this time. I bowed at once. Thank you, Your Majesty. Only Shun Kei remained frozen. Mother, he said in disbelief. You know my feelings for Ling Yao are not those of a brother. Kei, the Empress interrupted sharply. You have already chosen a crown princess. You are also selecting a secondary consort. Why are you still hesitating? You made this choice yourself. As the heir to the throne, you should know that your words cannot be treated as a joke. Shun Kei's face turned white.
Yes.
A prince's decision could not be taken back so easily. He had chosen someone else. And now there was no easy road back to me. For the first time, he thought seriously of Xiaoling. In our previous life, Shen Ke had admired him greatly. As the queen's brother, Xiaoling had never married. He had spent his entire life guarding the border. Whenever he sent reports to the court, he would sometimes include a short family letter. Once, Shen Ke had asked me what those letters said. I had smiled and answered, "Brother is only asking whether you and I are doing well." At the time, Shen Ke had thought Xiaoling was simply loyal and straightforward. But now, a terrible thought entered his mind. Had Xiaoling truly never wanted to marry? Or had the woman he wanted always been me? Was that short letter really a family letter? Or had it been a love letter all along? Shen Ke's expression darkened. He finally understood. The moment he placed the jade scepter in another woman's hands, he had pushed me toward a man who had quietly waited for me for years. Just then, an attendant hurried into the hall. "Your Majesty," the attendant announced, "General Xiao has arrived outside the palace." Shen Ke stepped forward at once. "What did he say?" The attendant lowered his head. "He said he has come to take Miss Chu home." Outside the palace, the sound of armor echoed through the courtyard. A sword was handed over. The palace doors slowly opened. A tall man stepped inside, covered in dust from a long journey. His face was calm. His eyes were cold. Then he saw me, standing among the young ladies, looking so small. I turned to face him. The autumn wind swept between us. Our eyes met. The tears I had been holding back finally fell. My voice shook. "Brother." Nothing had changed. After 2 lifetimes, I was still the same girl. Whenever I was hurt, I ran to him. The Empress laughed warmly. "So, General Xiao is here." Ling Yao was being playful today. She even sneaked into the selection ceremony. If she hadn't congratulated the crown prince, I never would have known the two of you were already promised each other. What wonderful news. The moment those words fell, the usually steady general nearly lost his balance. He had ridden day and night without stopping, and he had arrived just in time. He bowed quickly, then walked to my side. His hand trembled as it gently rested on my shoulder. Looking at the Empress and Shen Ke, he said, his voice shaking, "Thank you, Your Majesty. I came today to take my future wife home." But that wasn't how it happened in my last life. Back then, he arrived just in time to see the jade scepter in my hands. The fearless young general who had faced countless battles turned pale in an instant. When the Empress spoke to him, when I asked if he was all right, he simply knelt, forced out a smile, and quietly said, "Yes, it is happy news." Later he claimed his battle wounds were serious and needed time to heal. Until my wedding day, he never let me see him again. When we finally met, he had grown much thinner. I smiled at him in my wedding dress. "Brother." He didn't answer right away. He only smiled faintly, then bent down and carried me to the bridal carriage. Every step was slow, steady, heavy, as if the road beneath him was made of fire. I worried about his injuries. "Brother, are you feeling better? I sent you so much medicine." He stopped walking. The carriage stood right in front of us. I couldn't see his face. I only heard his quiet reply. The wounds closed, but they never truly healed. Inside the carriage, I was still frozen. One sentence kept echoing in my mind. "My future wife." I looked at Xiaoling in disbelief. "Brother." "Yes? Did I drag you into this?" I never expected Shen Ke to do something like this after coming back. I thought he would let me go. Instead, he wanted to keep me by his side forever. So I had no choice but to bring up our old engagement. For one reason only, to protect myself. Besides, in my last life, Xiaoling never married. He never seemed interested in love. I thought this wouldn't affect him. "We're only pretending," I explained quickly. "After everything settles down, we'll part ways." By then, the crown prince could never marry me. He cares too much about his reputation. I didn't expect him to humiliate me like this. But now that the Empress has heard everything, there is no turning back. "So, I'm sorry," Before I could finish, Xiao Ling lowered his head. His lips brushed against mine. I froze. He gently held my face, carefully wiped away my tears. His voice was low. I was always afraid I'd scare you. I wanted to earn enough honor before asking for your hand. But I almost lost you. After finally getting you back. You're telling me this is only an act? His fingers brushed my cheek. He looked straight into my eyes. Not happening. The carriage rocked gently along the road. Neither of us spoke. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely breathe. I suddenly pushed him away, then stared at him in shock. He didn't move. He simply looked back at me, waiting, as if he had already accepted whatever answer I gave. He smiled, but it was full of sadness.
No, we're not ending this.
You don't have to love me. You can ignore my feelings if you want, but I won't let you go. The disciplined general suddenly sounded as stubborn as a child. I would rather give up everything than lose you. I finally found my voice. My face burned. When did we ever get married? We haven't even had a wedding. And he was already talking about forever? He had completely lost his mind. Everything around me felt unreal. My husband from my last life regretted choosing me. The man I had always trusted as family confessed feelings he had hidden for years. Both of them had completely turned my world upside down. My parents thought the same. When they heard Shun Ke had chosen another woman as crown princess, yet still wanted me to stay by his side, my father slammed the table. This is outrageous. He begged for Ling Yao in the first place. And now he expects my daughter to accept this? Our family never wanted her involved in this election. It was Shun Ke who came to us. He promised he would only love her. That was the only reason we agreed. And now he breaks his word. If he didn't want to marry her, fine. She could simply come home. Our family would always protect her. But he wants everything. Not a chance. Then my parents looked at me. What did Xiaoling say? After taking me home, Xiaoling had been summoned to the palace. Only then did I learn the truth. The moment he heard I was joining the selection ceremony, he rushed back without stopping. I looked at my parents, still dazed. He said, he wants to marry me, but he said a proposal should never come from me. He asked me to wait for him. I waited until the palace banquet that night. The empire had won a great victory. Xiaoling had returned to the capital to report to the emperor. The emperor was delighted and held a grand banquet. I entered the palace with my mother. Halfway there, she accidentally stained her dress and went to change. A palace maid stepped forward. Miss Chu, please follow me. I didn't think much of it, but the farther we walked, the quieter it became. I suddenly realized where we were. This was a side hall near the Empress's palace. Something felt wrong. I turned to leave, but someone was already waiting beneath the tree. The maid had disappeared.
Shun Ke looked at me. Ling Yao.
My expression turned cold. I took 2 steps back, keeping my distance. Your Highness, what does this mean? My mother will worry if she can't find me. I should leave now. Seeing me turn away, he quickly stopped me. Do you really have to treat me like a stranger? I let out a quiet laugh. What else should I do? You already have your future wife. And I already have my fiancé. A man and a woman shouldn't be alone together like this. If someone sees us, rumors will spread. The moment I mentioned my fiancé, his face changed. Don't talk about him. He's been waiting for you all these years. If I'd known back then. So what if you had? I cut him off. He never crossed the line. He served the empire with loyalty. He respected me every step of the way. And if we're together now, isn't it because you pushed me away? You made your choice. So, why are you the one regretting it? His voice softened.
Ling Yao.
I gave in to you our entire last life. Can't you give in to me just once? Yes, becoming my secondary wife isn't ideal. But Song Yinhui is kind and generous. She'll treat you well. And with me there, you'll never be treated differently. Our biggest regret was never having children. You always said being crown princess and queen was exhausting. This time someone else can carry that burden. You can live freely. If there are children you like, I can raise them with you. We can still live happily together, just like before.
Slap.
The sound echoed through the courtyard. I hit him as hard as I could. Shun Ke, how can you even say that? My hands shook with anger. Do you hear yourself? You want another woman to become your wife, to support you, to have children, and then you expect me to take everything from her? You're humiliating me. And you're humiliating her too. A red handprint spread across his face. He stood there in silence. I looked at him as if I had never known him. If children mattered that much, why didn't you end our marriage in our last life? Why didn't you choose someone else then? And now, you marry a good woman, but still expect me to stay beside you? Do you respect either of us? But this is the best solution. Shun Ke argued. I don't love her, but I won't mistreat her. She'll become crown princess. She'll have everything. What could she possibly complain about? He grabbed my wrist. His voice turned almost pleading.
Ling Yao.
Just this once. I always gave in to you. I stayed faithful to you our whole life. Isn't this a small thing compared to that? So this was it. He still couldn't let go of one regret. This story is produced exclusively by the YouTube channel Moonlit Stories. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe. He never had a child of his own. Even though our adopted heir had been wise and loving, it was never enough for him. In my last life, he said, I was a respected emperor. I expanded the empire. I cared for my people. I did almost everything right. But history always remembered one flaw. I had no direct heir. So this time, I just want a perfect ending. What's wrong with that? You asked for it. I said quietly. He froze. I pulled my hand free, then slapped him again. He stared at me, finally awake. My voice was colder than ever. Shun Ke, you begged me to become your crown princess. You begged me not to leave when I wanted to walk away. You call your regret a stain on your life. But do you know what I carried for you? You were criticized for having no heir. I was blamed for everything. They called me selfish. They called me the reason the empire suffered. You say you sacrificed for me. Did you ever see what I sacrificed for you? I took a deep breath. When we came back, you decided not to marry me. I accepted that. Marriage should always be a choice. I would never force someone to love me. But you crossed the line. You tried to humiliate me again and again. I will never become someone's second choice. And I will never ask another woman to share the man she loves. She deserves better. So do I. I looked him straight in the eyes. If you still remember our last life together, then those 2 slaps were from the wife you once had. If you don't, punish me if you want. I won't regret a thing. I turned and walked away. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed someone hiding behind the bushes. A flash of a dress disappeared into the darkness. I didn't stop. I didn't look back. Your Highness, I've been away long enough. My mother must be worried.
Goodbye.
Behind me, Shun Ke shouted. You think Xiaoling can make you happier than I could? He's only a general. What kind of future can he possibly give you? The court banquet fell into a sudden silence. Xiaoling's request was simple, but it shook the entire hall. He had spent his military achievements to ask for one thing: marriage into the Chu family, and a title for his wife. That was all. He knelt in the center of the hall. The emperor, empress, nobles, and ministers all froze. The crown prince and the future crown princess were seated on one side. The emperor was in a rare good mood. General Xiao has brought great victory to our nation. Gold and rewards are too ordinary.
Speak.
What do you want? I will grant it. The empress glanced at her son. My mother tightened her grip on my hand. The hall waited. Xiaoling stood, then knelt again properly. I dare not ask for much. But the emperor urged him on. So he spoke clearly. I was an orphan. I was taken in by the Chu family and raised as their son. The Chu family gave me everything I have today. This kindness is greater than mountains. I have nothing to repay it with. So, I ask only this. Please allow me to marry into the Chu family. and let me become Chu Lingyao's husband. I only ask for a noble title for my wife. I will be forever grateful. Boom. A fruit plate fell to the ground. Juice spilled across the floor. The crown prince had lost control of his expression. The empress sighed softly. The entire hall was in shock. Xiao Ling was a rising general, a man with a brilliant future. He could have married a princess if he wanted, but instead, he chose to marry into a family, to become a son-in-law, a man who enters the wife's family. That meant something very clear. If one day I no longer wanted him, even a powerful general could be sent away. My mother's hand slowly relaxed. A satisfied smile appeared on her face, but I was still frozen. I looked at his back and remembered what he said when he left after sending me home. Wait for me, Lingyao. And I did. The emperor paused, then suddenly laughed, amused. Even he did not expect this answer. He had tested Xiao Ling. He thought the general would ask for power or reward. Instead, he asked to become a son-in-law. The crown prince rushed forward. Father, Lingyao. But the emperor waved his hand. The Chu family's daughter is bright and well-mannered. A perfect match. Granted. Then, he added casually, as for the title, it is well-deserved. With Chu family merit and Xiao Ling's achievements, it is only proper. And just like that, my name changed. No longer just Lingyao, but a noble wife granted by Imperial decree. The second-rank noble lady of Ning'an. The crown prince collapsed into silence. Everything was already decided. With the Imperial decree issued, even the future emperor could not undo it. And fate played one more trick. The emperor set the wedding date. On the same day as the crown prince's wedding. Double joy in the capital. Before the wedding, I saw him once. At a jewelry shop. I was with Xiao Ling. The crown prince was also there. With his future crown princess.
He froze when he saw me. So did I.
The crown princess of the Song family was calm and graceful. She greeted me politely with a gentle smile. I returned the nod, then looked away. Xiao Ling placed a jade hairpin into my hair. The shopkeeper smiled. Madam is so beautiful. Even this jade looks dull beside her. I felt embarrassed. But Xiao Ling nodded seriously.
Yes.
It does look dull. I shot him a glare. He didn't understand sarcasm at all. He leaned closer. HM? So serious. So clueless. I rose on my toes and kissed his ear lightly. Then paid and bought the hairpin. Before I could react, he lifted me into his arms. I hid my face in his chest, too embarrassed to look up. It was early spring. Everything was coming back to life. People around us laughed kindly. A young couple in love. Xiao Ling walked forward proudly, like a general returning victorious. Passing shops. Passing carriages. Passing a silent crown prince. The wedding was grand. A royal marriage. A military hero. And a double wedding with the crown prince. The capital was full of red decorations. Joy everywhere. When night fell, it was time for the wedding ceremony. Xiao Ling held me tightly, as if afraid I would disappear. He drove away everyone trying to cause chaos. No one was allowed to disturb us. Then he lifted my veil slowly. Under the candlelight, I looked at him and smiled. He froze. His eyes turned slightly red. He pulled me into his arms and buried his face in my neck. I thought, I almost lost you. I was only gone for 3 years. I thought I could earn enough merit to stand beside you properly. But I almost came too late.
His voice was low.
Regretful. He had always believed, if he wanted to marry me, he needed to earn it first. So he went to war. For 3 years. Blood, steel, and battlefields. But that delay almost cost him everything. I blinked slowly. Brother. His hand covered my eyes gently. His voice turned soft. Not brother. Call me husband. My cheeks burned. Husband. The red candles flickered. Silk curtains swayed. The room was filled with warmth and fragrance. 3 months later, Xiao Ling and I left the capital. The emperor had issued a strict order. Border defenses in the south must be strengthened. No one was allowed to withdraw the troops. Not even future emperors could change it. So he chose Xiaoling, the best general for the job. That worked out well. My parents were getting old too. After hearing the news, they packed up as well. We decided to move south together and live out our retirement peacefully. The day we left, it was drizzling. The sky was covered in soft gray mist. The crown prince and crown princess came to see us off. Both had just been married. Shun Ke was quieter than before. The crown princess spoke politely and with grace. Xiao Ling, and I thanked them. Then we mounted our horses and set off. The army moved slowly. The wind rose again. It lifted the carriage curtains. Through the rain and mist, I saw Shun Ke. Our eyes met for a moment. But everything was blurred. And just like that, we left. I thought we would never meet again. But 3 years later, the emperor passed away. A new ruler ascended the throne. Xiao Ling and I returned to the capital to report. At that time, the former crown princess, now empress, summoned me. She was still dignified and gentle, just a little fuller now. She seemed to be living well. These years, she had become a capable empress. She managed the palace affairs with fairness and grace. Everyone praised her as generous and wise, even arranging concubines for her husband without complaint. When she saw me, she poured tea. "I know what happened back then," she said calmly. "I saw the truth because of you. I should thank you." I smiled and shook my head. "But your Majesty still married him in the end, didn't you?" Back then, I had asked my maid to lead Song Yunhui to that side hall. She heard everything, but she still chose to marry him. "I had no choice," she said calmly. "I was raised under my stepmother. Becoming crown princess was already the best path I could take. As for love," she smiled lightly, "that was never important." I understood. She didn't love Shun Ke. And maybe he didn't love her either. So over the years, she accepted everything calmly, even arranging his concubines, even arranging a meeting between him and me. The bead curtain lifted. I looked up. Shun Ke stood there. His eyes lit up the moment he saw me. "Ling Yao." The empress spoke first. "Your Majesty came at the right time. I was just talking with the Duchess of Ning'an." She still held my hand, protective, but gentle. I stood and bowed. "This subject greets your Majesty." That single phrase made Shun Ke stop in his tracks. He gave a bitter smile. "Ling Yao, why must you hurt me like this?" But time doesn't go back. I knew his nature well. He cared most about his reputation as a wise ruler. And with the Dowager Empress still alive, he would not dare act recklessly. Still, he looked at me with unwilling pain. "You really never accepted a concubine. He truly protected you that well. Even under pressure of death, he refused to let go." "Death pressure?" I looked up sharply. "What do you mean? What did you do to him?" "Xiaoling did nothing wrong." My voice broke. I turned and ran out without waiting for an answer. I rushed past him without hesitation and collided straight into a firm chest. A man quickly caught me. "Careful."
Warm.
"What are you doing running so fast?"
He sighed.
"What if you got hurt?" I looked up. "Xiaoling?" Tears immediately fell. He panicked and wiped them away. "Did you hit your head? Or did I take too long in court?" "Let me check." But I suddenly understood. It was a lie. Shun Ke had not touched him. I turned back. Shun Ke stood there, empty,
Defeated.
"Ling Yao," he said softly. "Now I finally understand. You didn't marry him because of me anymore. Not even a little. You truly love him." My vision went black. My body collapsed. Chaos erupted. When I woke again, I was on a bed. A physician was speaking. "To your Majesty, the Empress and General Xiao. There is no need to worry. The lady is only 2 months pregnant. She is just a little weak from travel." Silence. Then a crash. A vase shattered. Shock.
Joy.
Disbelief. Pregnant? Even I froze. In my last life, I thought I could never have children.
But now,
I was pregnant. Then, who couldn't have children in the past life? The answer was obvious. 3 years into his marriage, the new emperor still had no heir. Shun Ke stood frozen. He watched as Xiaoling held me in joy. As the empress smiled and congratulated us, he stood alone like an outsider. What had he done? He made me carry endless blame in the last life. He let me be hated and cursed. So, in this life, he chose another woman. He thought he was fixing everything. But in the end, the truth hit him brutally. The one who couldn't have children was him. The news spread quickly. Not because of me, but because in the previous life, I was the only empress. So all blame fell on me. But this life was different. The empress allowed him to take consorts. Yet still, there were no children. People began to whisper. The same ridicule I once endured now fell on him. He could not bear it. Or maybe his illness worsened from regret. 7 years later, the emperor died suddenly. A major event shook the nation. But the royal family was prepared. An adopted heir had already been trained. With the Empress Dowager and Grand Empress Dowager supporting him, the transition was smooth. No chaos followed. By then, my daughter was 6 years old. She tilted her head. Mother, do you know the former emperor? I smiled faintly.
No.
Not important. Then I added teasingly, have you finished your lessons? Your father will test you today. If you fail, you're in trouble. She immediately covered her head and ran off. At that moment, Xiaoling returned on horseback. He carried a bundle of wildflowers. Wife, he smiled. The flowers on the southern hill are blooming again. I picked these for you. Do you like them? I looked at him. Spring had returned once more. Everything was full of life again. A good sign. I smiled softly.
Yes.
They're beautiful.
And that's the end of today's story. Thank you for staying with Moonlit Stories. What makes this story so unforgettable is not just the second chance, but how love changes when time changes everything. Shin-Kei thought he could correct the past by choosing differently, but in the end, he only learned what it means to lose someone who has already moved on. And Xiao Ling, the quiet protector who waited across lifetimes, never needed to compete. He simply stayed, and that was enough. In the end, love was never about who chose first, but who never let go. If you enjoyed this story, thank you for listening and supporting the channel. Until next time, take care and goodbye from Moonlit Stories.